So this client calls us and he was like, it's time. Hey, Mady, I'm booked solid for the rest of the year. Concrete guy. And I want to pull back on the ad spend. And I was like, that's not a good idea because I know we had just talked about increasing. He was hesitant to increase. He increased, almost like doubled his ad budget in August.
Didn't this guy have a hard time starting the season?
He did, but also in August he was having a hard. He was having a hard time with like his numbers, and we're like, you need to increase your budget. I know it sounds counterintuitive.
So where was he struggling? What was he struggling with?
He was. I mean, at the beginning of the year,
is it like revenue, cash flow?
Yeah, cash flow and stuff like that.
Okay.
So he was like, all right, let's do it, Mady. I trust you. So he increased it to double. He pretty much doubled his budget in August. Like literally went from like, this much to like twice as much. I'm like, trust me, this is the data. These are the facts. He trusted me. So this is October. He's like, hey, I'm booked solid till the end of the year. I need to pull back.
Really?
Yes. I need to pull back.
Man, and he was struggling to get jobs.
And I was like, you can't pull back because if you pull back, you look at all the progress we've made. And then he's like, well, you're right. I don't want to stay unrelevant.
For residential.
For concrete, yeah. He's like, you're right. I don't want to pull back completely because I know that I got to stay relevant, but can we just cut back to where we were for the rest of the summer, the rest of the winter? And I'm like, yeah, no problem. And I'm like, hey, but by the way, this is a great opportunity to start thinking about growing your crews in 2026. And he was like, I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was actually pretty cool. But that was such a cool.
And this was Google Ads.
Yeah. It was
Google
very
Ads
cool.
and SEO. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very cool to see how sometimes like taking that risk, like literally saying, I'm going to take the risk right now. He's been with us for a long time. Like he trusts us, you know what I'm saying? But it's interesting to see how sometimes like, it's the pulling back is not the answer. It's the doubling down that's the answer.
Yeah.
And like when we were like, you got to find it in you to double down. We're in October and then the reason why he told me, he's like, hey, I understand. I'm with you. You're right. I don't want to pull back completely. I know I got to stay relevant. And he's like, but I do need to pull back a little bit because I'm not equipped to have this many leads come in.
Yeah.
Because I'm not answering
and
them.
This is cold weather season.
It's cold weather season.
That's interesting.
And then he's like, I can't even talk. I can't even call them. So that's when I told him.
Is that a red state?
I don't know if it's a red state. Let me see. I'm not sure. I have to grab my phone and figure it out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is someone that, here's the other thing. It's like, he is putting work in social media.
Oh yeah.
So whatever he's selling and he's installing, he's out there taking pictures of before and afters.
Yeah,
and
he's doing what he's supposed to be doing.
That's what I like to talk about is the businesses that are moving forward, moving ahead, and not starving are the ones that have decided to not just rely on the paid search or SEO, but they're doing multiple things.
Yeah.
Right. And something cool that he's got had us install on the website is this calculator that gives an instant quote to the homeowner.
Yeah, he's in Michigan.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So those are man, that's amazing.
Interesting, right?
So it's October, end of the year.
He's like I'm booked solid.
Welcome to another episode of the Contractor Click Podcast. Your host, Mady Barrera, here with my amazing and beautiful partner at Contractor Click, Mady.
Hi, what's up?
Welcome back.
I'm glad to be back.
Glad to be back.
Mm-hmm. Always love recording these podcasts. It's the best.
It's a new season.
Mm-hmm.
It's a new season. Mm-hmm. We're wrapping up October, and that means what's in the horizon?
That means winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
What was that show that had the winter?
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
When we first, fun fact, any listeners out there, when I first met Mady, I was like, hey, Mady, we can actually, she introduced me to that show. And I said, hey, have you ever thought about like putting together like an e-commerce shop? You remember?
I do remember. We called it the Westeros Shop.
The Westeros Shop. So anyways, winter is coming. What does that mean exactly? Is it like just the weather-wise, or what do you want to talk about today?
I mean, I want to talk about marketing, our marketing plan for the winter, like what we need to set up, what we need to, what that looks like, what the winter market's going to look like. I want to talk about organic results, paid results, all of that stuff. So we need to talk about winter's coming and what can home improvement and home service contractors do during the winter to, stay afloat.
Yeah, some contractors call this the shoulder season, right, in the home service environment. And I want to have you consider, like, you are the leader of your organization. If you're the owner of your business, you are the leader. And right now, you might be wondering, hey, what's different this year? What should I be paying attention? How do I increase my sales when the actual activity of my closing percentages is going down? Maybe you might have noticed some of the shifts in the market. That there's actually a government shutdown right now, which in some territories is really affecting how the consumer is spending money. Just a note here, I was looking at the top 500 remodeler magazine, which celebrates some of the biggest companies out there in the home improvement space. And I forget the name of the PE company that acquired quite a few home improvement companies. A couple of years ago, 2023, they were at over $200 million in valuation between all of the companies, and they literally closed doors out of nowhere. Yeah. Now, let's focus in where we're at right now. If you're generating under $30 million a year in revenue as a business, I can tell you that the effects of the market are going to be way different than if you're operating $100 million. And if you're under $10 million, the impact of the current economic cycle is going to be very different than if you're at 25 or over $25 million in revenue. And if you're under $5 million, the impacts is going to be way different. So you might not feel it as much. And this is why we have a lot of clients ascending and celebrating and crushing through revenue layers. And we've looked at data and we've seen, okay, if someone is at this level under 8 figures, under $10 million a year in revenue versus under $30 million, what's the biggest difference? What are the biggest pain points? And we see, the ones that are playing at a bigger level, they're investing a lot more. They're seeing a lot more volatility. Mm-hmm. They see a lot more data coming through. They see in pretty much real time, analyze, hey, what is the lead conversion by source? What's the sentiment of the lead that's coming from Google search, Google organic, Chat GPT, Meta ads? And we've seen, quite a bit of data here, which is interesting. And I want to empower you in this conversation today in that where we are headed into 2026, this is your battleground right now. And it's what you got to face. And the way I see it is, this is an incredible opportunity to double down in your commitment in what you do to operate from a marketing perspective, how you show up in the marketplace, how consumers see you this Christmas, this holiday season, how everyone else is perceiving you in your market. Because if your competitor is not listening to this podcast, they're probably going to hear all the hype about AI and like, hey, here's what we can do, but they're not going to know the strategy we're going to be sharing here today, some of the action items you can take, implement in your business, and move forward to build stability and momentum into 2026, right? So what are some of the things that have come up for you in conversations, Mady?
Well, I've had I've had conversations in the past couple of weeks where I get asked, if organic media, social media content is so good, why do I got to keep investing in paid ads when, conversion can be a little bit lower or like suffering a little bit because of the season? So why invest in paid ads when social media content, organic social media content is so good?
There's a difference in paid ads, right? Are we talking about Google and search ads during winter, or are we going into Meta?
I think we're talking about all of it.
All of it. Okay. Ads. Yeah. So here's the difference, right? So there's a difference in like seasonality. Seasonality is a thing. It's a thing. And you can go back and I like to always look at historical data. If you can find historical data pre-COVID, that means 2019, 2018, and before, and you can kind of see what the market trends were before then, and then the lift that happened after COVID, and then you start seeing, okay, when does it pick up? When does the demand for the service offering pick up in the territory? Now, home improvement, very different than home service. If you're in the service industry, great for you. I mean, we just have a cold front and coming through, and big storm, you name it. I mean, there's going to be demand for your services depending on where you're located, and that's how demand goes up or it dries out. Now, when it comes to home improvement, it's very evident. Like, hey, anywhere between November to January, February, things tend to slow down, right? January and February specifically before they pick up. March, May, April, May starts to pick up. Sometimes it's April, sometimes it's May, sometimes it's March. So what I like to look at is those reference points from a PPC perspective, because here's what I know. Let's divide up the 12-month cycle for the business. And I can see, okay, in the middle here, between April to November, this is where all the action is happening. This is where all the activity in installs, in replacements, in remodeling, this is where all the projects, this is where the majority, you're crushing it, and hopefully you are. And then you might have a little bit of a little hiccup in somewhere in the summer, right? Kids going back to school, before going back to school, etc. So where does PPC come into the play? The majority of business owners start marketing right before everything just starts demanding, building demand. The strategy that we like to share with our clients is during winter time, you want to keep your lead generators going on the social pay-per-click. That means Meta ads, YouTube ads, Instagram ads. Why is that? It's because those channels have an immense amount of activity by your audience, by those individuals. One of our clients, they're up in the Midwest, cold area, cold fronts. Their services, outdoor services. They do landscape curbing, and they've had their best year ever. I believe they might have doubled in revenue versus prior, and they're one of the biggest companies in the industry for what they do. What's the biggest difference? Last winter, quite literally, last winter, we ramped up a campaign that was a branded-based campaign. Now, here's what we knew. It's like quite literally, I mean, they can't send people out there to install a curbing job, right? In the environment. It's snowing, the weather is just ridiculous. So what do we do in that instance? Great. We start preparing for SEO for the season, and we start advertising on social, building up the brand awareness for the service. Like a lot of homeowners didn't know they could actually do it. And we wanted to get ahead of the competition that just started to advertise when the season kicked in. So what happens? You want to be, you want to get yourself into your prospect's mind so that when they think about a specific service or they see that call to action ad in the season, they think of you. When they see your competitor advertising, they remember about you and seeing your ad. And now they see your ad again and boom, I'm going to take action. Yeah, I was waiting on that, right? So you've seen that happen on the social side.
I think there's a misconception that paid ads is like a slot machine in Vegas. You put money in and you get money out kind of thing, or like an ATM machine. I put my card in.
It could work that way. It works that way.
I believe that it does, but I also believe that paid ads right now is a little bit different when it comes. It's changed. The whole strategy has changed, and there does need to be not just I'm just gonna stick my ATM card in the machine and like withdraw money. I believe there needs to be an intentionality behind what is created in terms of paid advertising. And like you said, a lot of times people that do close down in the winter because they can't do work in the winter because, like, for example, the landscape curbing guys in the Midwest, the ground is frozen, it's thawed, you can't work. You should not turn off your advertising in the winter. You should use that time in the winter to keep your audience warm.
Yeah,
so
but
that
Mady,
when the spring starts,
I can't sell jobs in winter.
it doesn't matter. You're literally that's something that's the next thing that I kind of wanted to talk. So this is a great segue into what I want to talk about. This is
Exactly.
great. You can't. There's not much. Like I feel like right now there's a lot of instability in the market, people buying, government shutdowns, all the things. So there's like, if you have to have that control of like selling jobs, you got to figure out a way to budget. And you got to take your marketing budget in the year and you got to create a budget for marketing in the winter as well.
So let's go back to the 12-month cycle. The question we get a lot is, Danny, do I divide up my advertising budget evenly, or how do I do it? Well, first and foremost, it's very different for every business out there. That's just what it is. When the demand is high, obviously you want to double down. You want to be ready. You want to be prepared. You almost, and this is not just from the demand generation. This is not from lead generation. This is for even recruiting. Like a lot of businesses can't grow and scale because they don't plan their recruiting strategy. And that's something that also requires advertising, requires marketing, requires you getting out there. And if you're not strategic about budgeting, you get yourself into a season and you're like, hey, Mady, I need you to turn off the ads. We're so booked out. We've had a couple of clients actually do that. And we're like, hey, you should have told.
Right.
And like, it's interesting to see that happen. But the fun part is this. What do you do? So we're headed into November, December. Here's the reality, right? Something that's happening in the market. Again, government shutdown. Some industries are being affected right now. So example is if you are serving an area where there's a lot of consultants, government consultants, companies that serve the government in whatever industry. It could be technology, it could be infrastructure, it could be actually it could be industrial, government services. You're not getting paid, right? So what do you do, Mady? What do you do? Well, the first thing you got to do is make sure you have what we talked about last couple of episodes here, which is you have a list of items that you can do when leads are dried out, when you don't have jobs on the board, when everything is just slowing down severely. And this is the first thing. Things that you can do that don't require ad spend, right? And this is like you can create your code red, your orange, your yellow, and your green. That means like when you're green, rocking and rolling. When you're yellow, you're slowing down. When you're orange, you're starting to notice, hey, instead of being 6 weeks booked out, I'm 3 weeks booked out. Code red, man, I got a job on the board for next week per crew, and like we are in code red. There's a necessity. So you got to develop a plan, an action plan that is about who do I have in my relationships Rolodex? What connections do I need to make in my community? What other activity can I have my guys come and help me out with in doing? And most importantly is this is the time to double down on your business. Like now, if you have time on your hands, well, Mady, I don't have time to create social media content.
Exactly.
Guess what you could do right now?
So just get your guys and start recording footage. That's what you can do right now.
How is that going to help me generate
100%.
revenue?
It is. It's going to stay. You're going to stay branded. You're going to stay in your audience's feed. They're going to recognize who you are. It is proven time and time again. The more you post on social media, interact on social media, have a social media profile that's real and relevant, the more your community is going to recognize you. They just are. They just are.
Yeah. So some of this is like being strategic and things that maybe you didn't pay attention to doing. And this is an exercise we started doing with one of our clients last year. It's like, hey, my cost per lead is almost like over $95 per lead in an industry where the average is like $45. And I mean, it's almost like double the cost per lead. And this contractor came to us. He's like, hey, what else can I do? Hey, how busy are you? Well, you're not booked. You're only 2 weeks booked out. What are you having your guys do, Thursdays and Fridays when you're actually just in the shop? You're just doing repair jobs. Well, not much. I have to send them back home at 2, and we're like, okay, let's create some social media content. Let's fast forward right now. We've been able to literally bring down the cost per lead from $90+ winter season, being booked out 6 weeks out, 3 crews, cost per lead slash in half. by creating social media content. So that is, we're just talking about the Facebook ads right now. We didn't even get into Google, right? Is this landing? Did that answer your question in terms of like? Yeah.
And I think something interesting that you said that I really like that I think we need to continue to repeat is that you got to treat your business like a business. This is a business. And yes, I understand that a lot of people like this blue collar business is like, I'm a blue collar business, but you're still a business. So you got to treat your business like a business. You got to talk about numbers. You got to know your numbers. You got to know how much it costs to acquire a client. You got to work on that. So if it's a time that you're like slow and you don't have a lot of work coming in, then that's another thing that you can work on. Work on budgeting, work on what are you going to plan for next year, work on do your processes look good. And I know that may seem like, yeah, but it is going to generate income in the very near future, because when all of that stuff is tight and you know your numbers and you have a goal and you have a target and you have processes that you revisit that work, you'll just scale quicker once the season starts to like warm up again.
So that's a great point. Now I want to touch a little bit into that. Going into winter for a lot of business owners, they start thinking about cutting back in their marketing. And here's where I'm going to be at is like you can cut down on your advertising if you want. But 2026 is not necessarily going to be an easier year. Like if you plan on retrieving and you plan on not being proactive in your advertising marketing, like right now it's a necessity to be out there. Why is that? It's because Google is changing rapidly the way that they are representing data. That means that AI overviews on Google search are taking away the organic clicks that our clients used to get. We are seeing a decrease on traffic to the website from organic and that increase of traffic on LLMs. And LLMs, like the chat GPTs, operate very different than Google search does. Yeah. And we still have to pay the game up, pay to play on Google ads. And if LSA is available, we play on LSA. And then there's social media ads. Now, here's where the strategy gets amazing. It's when you start to realize and start tracking, what are my lead numbers? What's my cost per lead? What's my cost per appointment? What's my cost per acquisition per channel? A fun stat is the cheapest lead doesn't always win, which is a big fallacy out there. It's like, hey, you got to aim for the cheapest lead. Yes, absolutely, you should. You should, but we're no longer in 2018 or 2017 when no one else was advertising on Facebook. We're no longer where Google Ads was kind of like optional, right? We could just do SEO and crush it.
Right.
Like I see a lot of companies bragging like, hey, I built a $70 million company. Sure, you did back in 2018 when no one else, the competition wasn't what it was. It would have taken you quite a different route here to playing this game right now. So what do we do in this economy? What do we do here now? Well, you got to have a strategic approach. One of them is how do you build a strategic campaign that's going to bring demand for you? You got to get better at creating social media content. We talked about that. Number two is your creative strategy has got to be superior. Forget about the same ad that everyone else is running out there. The same advertising with the same offer. If you are used to running those ads or your company's running those ads, you are going to be struggling in selling jobs. And that's just what we've seen happen tremendously. Some of our biggest clients have come from working with big lead generation companies out there that sell leads by the hundreds per month. And they've shifted thousands and thousands of dollars of budget to us because they see the conversions and the change when we are able to implement the full strategy. So it's not about, hey, let me cut back entirely. No, it's about how do we layer our advertising dollars so that we can show up, get better creatives. And then on the Google search side, what can I do better to get more leads? Number one, you have something called the Google listing. The Google business listing is your profile. If your profile is in the middle of nowhere, it's going to be hard to get calls. That's just what it is. If your business listing is not getting any more 5-star reviews, no marketing partner is going to be able to help you. And the reality is, if you're not getting more reviews and your competitors are getting more reviews, guess who AI is going to recommend?
The people with reviews.
People with reviews. Another curveball is you have Yelp, you have Triple B, you have Angie's getting mentioned and cited by who?
AI.
By AI.
Overview.
So if you haven't gotten a single review and someone else, you got Joe with the pickup truck and he decided to buy Angie's leads and he got like 5-star reviews on Angie's and he's the guy with reviews and you're not, who's going to get number one mention? It's probably that competitor. So get serious about getting reviews. Danny, what are you telling me to do here? Do a lot more. Everyone has to do a lot more. And that's what this season is going to require. What this is going to do is imagine like a bubble right now. I do believe that there's going to be a lot of businesses that are not playing full out. They're going to be forced to either significantly reduce their business and play small. Those that are not willing to commit and sustain are going to probably pay a bigger price next year. So my encouragement to you is to really understand your gross margins. And when it comes to a season, one of our mentors, Michael Galaro, told us the other day, he's like, hey, in 2008, recession 2008, I was willing to not make any profit for the year. My commitment was to grow in revenue, to not make any profit, survive, but to continue to push forward. And that just cleaned the air and the road for going ahead. And sometimes that's what it takes. You got to you roll up your sleeves, get in there, make sure that you're pushing forward. Well, Danny, I'm not making any money. Well, what would you rather do, right? Lose all the effort, the impact that you've been working so hard for? So I encourage from a real talk, keeping it real conversation, if you're still listening, to think ahead and say, where do I want to be on the other side? When the dust settles, when the economy starts to pick up on the residential market, if that's who you serve, where do I want to be? Do I want to be on top or do I want to be at the bottom because I retrieved? And now people with more money to invest in advertising will just take over. So we've talked a little bit about what you should be thinking about on social. On the Google Ads side, things are changing rapidly. Cost per clicks are going through the roof right now in many territories for many services. I recommend being strategic for the service that you're pushing. That means sometimes advertising for a service that you might not want to do, but it's in higher demand, and your competitors are not bidding for that service. So we always like to look at the service offering and like the palette, right? And maybe homeowners aren't looking for a specific service, but there is another layer of service. Like some of our service partners, man, they're selling membership services left and right. Like left and right. And we're pushing and we're like, hey, why don't you put $1,000 into Meta ads and see? And this guy is like, hey, I'm getting so many members coming in. Like, what do you guys do? And Mady is like, well, we just turned on some Facebook ads here, pushing some brand awareness to the membership. And now there's that revenue, and that is leading to other things, right? So outside of that, I want to encourage you, if you haven't gotten a new website or your website has been just catching dust, it's not getting updated, this is the time to start thinking so that when you show up next year, next season, you are capitalizing on the AI searches, which is an uptrend right now. Everyone's using AI. You might be using AI. And you might be catching some of the AI results right now, which is great. Keep going. So anything else you want to cover here in today's podcast?
I think that was a really good podcast, very full of information, and it's real talk, which is what we need to be doing right now. All of this fluff now, we've got to have real talk. So this was a really good episode and very informative.
Awesome. Well, you heard it here from the Contractor Click Podcast. Be sure to find that subscribe button, leave us a comment, because we're here to serve you. And if you're running a multi-7-figure business and you're looking for a new strategy, a fresh plan of action for your marketing for 2026, or to winter-proof your business, now it's time to start having conversations. Don't slide back, don't fall back. Now it's time to go forward. Mady Barrera, I'll see you in the next one.